Shall we see who's checking in with us today? Well, remember this.
Mr. Richardson?
Oh, Vince, take this over for me, would you please?
Yeah, sure. Papa.
Crossroads Motel.
Oh, yes. Happy Memories Day. And here to help celebrate 45 years of Crossroads, it's Miss Diane herself, actress Susan Hanson. From 1964 to 1988, it wasn't just Coronation Street getting the nation talking. Set in a Midlands motel, Crossroads regularly attracted an audience of 15 million viewers who were hooked on the lives of Meg Mortimer, Amy Turtle and hapless handyman Benny. Our first guest today was a huge part of the show's success as Miss Diane, the waitress who always wore her heart on her sleeve.
Do you intend to continue as a fully paid up member of the syndicate, or don't you? Well, I suppose so. Quite bad enough with Joyce Crew dropping out. I've got to find somebody else to take her place as it is, without Joe playing up with my lady.
Well, quite honestly, I don't blame Joyce for dropping out. For months we've been putting in this money. I haven't had so much of a sniff of the prize money.
Patience, Miss Lawton, patience. You can't expect the gods to smile on our little venture straight away.
Well, if you ask me, I don't think the gods know we exist. I think Lady Luck's gone into retirement. What I want to know is, when do we get our mink coats and our villas in the south of France?
And our villas in the south of France.
Now, ladies.
Please welcome Susan Hanson. Show.
Oh my God,
you've not changed.
Oh, you are sweet.
No, not one bit, has she? You look great.
Thank you.
It's hard to believe that it's 45 years since the Crossroads Motel opened its doors, isn't it?
I know, it doesn't
45
seem that
years.
length of time.
We got so
Scary.
nostalgic hearing that.
No, she welled up.
I did.
Did you?
Because it just
Yeah.
reminds me of childhood, of sort of happy, comforting days
Well,
listening to that music.
I know, and me, but whenever I hear that ATV jingle, I think,
Really?
yes, absolutely.
Was it all done live, Sue?
Yes, the first...
Was it?
Yes, it was, yes. My first 5 weeks was absolutely live. I went in for 5 weeks and playing Diane, and my goodness, I've never been so terrified in my life.
Goodness.
But
How long did you think it would run? How long did they think it would run at the time?
Well, they didn't know. I mean, it was a new soap. It was on every day.
Yes.
There
It
was
was the
only
first soap that
Coronation
was on every
Street.
day, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was the only one. So we all were quite excited because it was new and unique.
Yeah.
But
And you ended
no,
up
we had
staying
no
how long,
idea that
Sue?
it would run that long.
How long were you in the show?
I was in the show 22 years.
Wow.
I know, a long time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I loved it. I just stayed and stayed because I just was so happy doing it.
Had you mostly been a theatre actress before
Yes,
those
I had.
days?
When I went for the casting, I was at the Bristol Vic. And I went up the motorway and got the job. But no, I'd done a lot of theatre before. And I was just very happy to be in television because it suited me.
What happened? I mean, say you did it live every day. There must have been mishaps, or what would happen if you forgot your lines, or?
Well, the stage manager used to stand there with a cut key to cut the sound. So, goodness knows, if you dried, you were in trouble because she would just break the sound and you would be fed your lines.
Do you know, I can't think of anything worse because when I did Corrie to celebrate 40 years and I was heavily pregnant, we did one live episode and it was possibly the most... I mean, if you're presenting something in your life and something goes wrong, you've got the freedom to say, oh, listen, sorry, everybody, but we've got to do this or that. But you can't when you're playing a role. It was honestly, I mean, I can't tell you, sweating now. Let me tell you what I was like there.
Pretty hairy, but I remember Anne George, who played Amy. You always knew when Anne was... Yes, she was lovely. I loved her too. And she was like the Coquine Fairy, you know. She was so tiny and round, and she'd look up with her big blue eyes. And you think, oh my goodness, she's going. And so I'd say her lines, my lines, everybody else's lines.
But of
It
course,
was really good.
you became very well known for your on-screen relationship with Benny.
Oh, yes.
He's the man that made you Miss Diane, so let's see the two of you in
Absolutely.
action.
Am I going to get on in a town? I've always lived round here in the country.
Peachy's not Birmingham. It's not big.
big and noisy enough for me. And then the starring and the ends, who's going to look after... It's not funny.
I know, look. Miss Luke will look after the hens, and Ed won't let anything to happen to Starry. Don't worry.
Are you still in touch?
Yes, I spoke to him last week.
Did you?
Yes, he's in Spain on holiday at the moment. He's coming back to do a tour, but we keep in touch. And did you enjoy the remake?
I did, because I played Virginia Raven, who was so evil, and it was brilliant to play her, you
Yes,
know.
I
Look
thought
at
they
you
were
there,
great.
Sharon.
And I loved it. It was just fantastic. And of course Jill was in it, so you know, I mean, we had her on it, and it was a great thing. But to be honest with you, you know, to be part of Crossroads later on was just a fantastic feeling. We thought we were part of the old show, to be honest.
Well, I suppose you were, in a way. You just had a better set.
Yeah.
How did you deal with the criticism? Because people did used to laugh about the sort of shaky sets
Well,
and things.
it's
Was that
very
actually
funny.
truth, or was that a sort of myth?
Well, I think everybody's sets in those days shook. A great friend of mine, who will remain nameless, but an actor we all know, he said the other day he was watching Upstairs, Downstairs, which I just love. I don't know about you.
Me too.
And it was like an earthquake. You know, he said. So he said it wasn't just you. I think it was just, you know, in those days the sets had to be struck for the next show coming
You know,
in.
your show was one of those shows that everybody said they never watched, but everybody always did.
I know. That used to really upset me, actually. I could never understand why people didn't admit it.
There's always been a
you know.
snobbery, though, hasn't there, about
there
it?
has.
Until they get the phone call asking if they'd like to go in it.
Exactly, exactly. But, you know, you have to remember you do it for the public,
Absolutely.
not each other.
And for everybody that did tune in and love the show, there's an anniversary box set out, 41 disc set. That'll keep you busy.
Nice Christmas present.
We really hope that we will see you again on our screens.
Oh,
And
thank
it's
you
been
very
an
much.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's been my
Let's
pleasure.
hear it
Thank
for
you.
Susan Hanson.
Thank you.